Hey. Okay. So this morning I woke up and I'm trying to get the kids ready for church. Adam's at work. They're being crazy. I'm just exhausted. And I just think to myself, I just want to go to a church that I don't go to normally. And I want to sneak in the back and I want to sit in the back and I just want to weep. That's what I want to do this morning. Like, I don't want to have to be responsible for anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to serve. I don't want to do anything this morning. I love serving. It's like my heart. Um, but this morning I just wanted to show up to church and only talk to Jesus. I didn't want to talk to anyone else or be responsible for anyone else. So I did. I went to church this morning and I snuck in the back and I wept. Like the whole service. It was so good. It was such a good message. And it was so needed just to be able to sit in the back. There was at one point I was like, I literally just want to like lay on the floor in a fetal position and just pretend like it's Jesus's lap. And I just want to cry and I don't want anybody to touch me. I just want them to keep singing praise and worship and I just want to lay back here in my fetal position. I didn't. I stayed in my chair, but there was a desire there. But it was so good. It has been a season, a very hard season. Like the seasons where everything seems extra, just thinking about cooking dinner wipes me of all my energy. My kids have eaten so many peanut butter sandwiches. So many. Returning text messages is a lot. It takes so much energy. I see them. I want to respond. I want to. I feel very lonely right now. I want to respond. I want community, but I just don't have the energy to do that right now. Like even group settings, like I go to them, but I just have no energy to like participate in them. I don't have the energy to form words. There's just so much going on right now, so much I'm trying to work through and process. I know. So it's a hard season, right? And seasons come. They come and go. There's really good ones, and then there are not good ones. They're really hard ones. And good things always come at the end of the hard ones. They suck to go through, but they produce some type of fruit by the end of them if you let God allow that. I mean, to build that in you, right? But this morning was about Easter. This season is like a season of healing. There's a lot that I've went through, a lot that I've experienced when I was young, and I'm trying to work through those things, like I lived in a lot of years of denial. I'm sure none of you have done that. Where I just thought, things happened, whatever, I'm fine. And then, you reach 36 and all of a sudden you realize, wow, I'm not really fine, right? There's all these things that have kind of built up and I need to try to heal from them and not just live in this world of acceptance of, oh, bad things happen to everybody, I'm fine, and just keep trucking. You just try to heal from them. And it has been hard. But it's so funny because there's been this healing of trying to heal through things that have happened and reach a point of forgiveness towards the person and people that have done these bad things to me or have hurt me. And it started with that, like there's this trauma I need to work through. And it started with that. And I can tell you that there's always been like a character trait about God that I've kind of clung to at different seasons. And in January, when all this stuff started coming up, like I've been through some hard things, some not good things. And since January, all I can think is God is so good. Like goodness. The goodness of God. And through all the trauma and all the pain and all the healing, God has been so present and so good. It's just the goodness of God, like, which seems weird to be trying to battle through all this pain and just be like, oh, God is so good. Maybe that's like a level of maturity at some point. Maybe I've finally reached some type of maturity level in my walk. I don't know. We'll see how long it lasts, right? But he's just so good. So I've got that. And it's so funny. Like he knew that I was going to turn 36. And not long after that, I was going to start trying to confront these really hard things. He knew those things. And in knowing that, he set up all these things for January and February to help me with that healing. Because he knew what I was going to be going through and he knew what I would need. And he knew what he wanted to teach me through it. And I'm not all the way through it, but it's just so funny to see in the midst of it how he lines things up to show you he's there and that he's going to walk with you through it. It's just the goodness of God. Somehow I got introduced to the Bible recap, which has been so good to read through the Bible in chronological order, which I've never done. I know, that's bad. I've never done that. And to read through it, and as you read through it, his character is being pointed out throughout the whole thing. And it is always good. His character is always so good and so merciful. And the love he has for his people, the ones that follow him, even when they make terrible, terrible mistakes, but they are his, is so beautiful. That he would create Adam and Eve and put them in a garden that he dwells in with them. He's in that garden with them. He wants to be with them. It saddens him when he has to kick them out of that garden because he loved them and he wanted to be with them. That he sends Moses to deliver his people out of Egypt. And when they end up in the desert, he dwells among them. He's over top of them in a cloud. He makes them create this very fancy box that I cannot remember the name of right now. Indiana Jones wanted it at some point. It's a very fancy box. Lots of description and detail that you have to read about with this box. But it's because he wanted to dwell among them, to be with them. It's beautiful. It is so beautiful. And then he sends Jesus down to earth, his son, to take on all the things we deserve that Jesus didn't deserve. He sends him down to die for us so that he could dwell among us with his Holy Spirit, so that when we died, we could go to heaven and be with him, and he could dwell with us all the time. Like, he wants to be with his people. He loves us so much. He will do whatever it takes to be with us. Whatever it takes. Even sending his son to the cross. That's how much he loves his people. It's beautiful. So I'm going through all this stuff, and I'm reading through the Bible recap, and I'm on a daily basis hearing how good he is, how merciful he is. And then on top of that, I'm starting a Bible study that a friend invited me to. That is about pride and self-reflection, right? Which is really hard to do. Because right now I'm going through healing, and I want to look at what other people have done, right? What have they done to me? What have they done to me that hurts really bad and that has caused all these issues in my life, right? But God's like, yeah, they did do those things, and those things really sucked. But we're going to do something with it, like we're going to make something beautiful out of it. But before I can do that, I need you to see you. I need you to see what's in you that we need to kind of pick apart and work on. And we have. It has been a really hard season to try to heal from pain that other people have caused me. But then also have to self-reflect and see the ugly that's inside that I need to work on. Which is really funny that I would get to there from where I started in January of trying to get through this childhood trauma of like ugliness, how God's brought me over here to be like, yeah, that's bad, but let's look over here too and see what's bad over here, and let's work through that, because you're not completely clean either. And it's just it's been a roller coaster of lots of pain and lots of healing. It's been so strange. And then this morning to walk in to this church and to sit in the back. And to literally weep from like beginning to end. Like, I don't know if you can tell how swollen my eyes are, but for them to talk about Barabbas, I think that's how you say his name. But he's basically the one they let go. Just in case you're listening to this and don't know the story. I would assume if you're listening to this, you know the story, but you might not. That's okay. But they want Jesus dead, and they would rather release a lifelong criminal who's a murderer and who knows what else he done. Like, he was a really bad guy. A really bad guy. They wanted to release him and kill Jesus, who's done nothing. He's just offended them, basically. They didn't like that. They were jealous of him, and they were offended by the things he was saying because it didn't match their agenda and it made them look bad. So they wanted to kill him. He didn't do anything wrong. He was just speaking truth to them, and they didn't want to hear it. I've been there. Or he's speaking truth to me and I don't want to hear it. Yeah, I've been there. But they want to release Barabbas. Barabbas deserved to be beat. He deserved the cross. He deserved public humiliation. He deserved all these things. But he got to go free. Jesus didn't deserve any of those things. He took everything. Jesus took everything Barabbas deserved so that Barabbas could go free. So that we could go free. He took everything we deserve so that we could be free. Free of loneliness, free of fear, free of any type of sin, free of addiction, free of guilt, free of shame, free. He took every bit of it. So this was very emotional to listen to this morning when I'm already trying to work through the things he's pointing out in me. And I can tell you, like, the message of Joseph, like reading through that, I think it was in January, sometime at the end of January. It is probably, I've heard Joseph in the coat of many colors, right? His brothers are jealous of him. They sell him into slavery. For years, he spent years away from his family because his brothers were jealous and they sold him. And then he becomes somebody's right-hand man, but that guy's wife wants to sleep with him, but Joseph didn't sleep with her, but he still got thrown in prison for doing something he didn't do, for being blamed for something he didn't do, right? He got thrown in prison. But then, even though he spent years away from his family, he got put in prison for years for something he didn't do. He still, God turns it into something beautiful. He makes him into somebody that can interpret dreams. And he basically becomes one of the most powerful people in Egypt. He gets the opportunity to save everybody from a famine. God used all those bad things he went through. And made them into something good. He would have never got that high ranking. He would have never got the opportunity to save all those people from the famine if his brothers would have never sold him into slavery, if he would have never been put into prison for something he didn't do. Like, reading through that story was so life-changing to me. To see all these bad things that happened, and it was years and years of years. It wasn't something quick, like, oh, it happened, and then like a week later, God makes something good out of it. It took years to get to the good. And and his brothers come for food during the famine. And at the end of that, basically, they get to come live in Egypt and everything. And he overhears them talking about how they're scared he's going to get revenge on them. And he just looks at them and he says, "Don't fear me, because God is sovereign over everything. Yeah, what you meant for evil, what you did was bad, but God made something beautiful out of it. He did something good with it. So don't fear me. It's water under the bridge, because look at what's come of it." So I guess this message coming on here today, like, this season sucks and I've been through some pretty not fun things, but I've learned so much in just the past couple months about forgiveness and about God's sovereignty and about how sometimes it takes him years to make things beautiful. But when you're ready to let him, he's going to, and it's hard, but it's so worth it. And then also, like, learning how to level the playing field to things, like realizing that people have done really bad things, and like, have done bad things too. And God sent Jesus for everyone. It makes it so much easier to forgive things and find healing from them when you reach that point. When you start seeing those things that people suck, but there's been seasons where I suck too. Like, there have been people I have hurt. So, I don't know. It is just, it's a bad season, but a good season. But I don't know what kind of season you're in right now. Or if you're in a season where you're really struggling to forgive people or a person, or that you're really struggling to fight to break through some things. Like, God is so present through all of it. If you're really, really sinking into Him, He will bring you out of it. He really will. And I challenge you to get in the Word and to really read it from like front to cover, not just bits and pieces of it. Because I've went through those seasons, and it's okay to do this, and it's fine. But where you pick like a random verse somewhere, there's something that's so healing to read and see God's character from the beginning of the Bible to the end of the Bible, to see how His character never changes and how He doesn't leave His people. They may go through suffering and hardship, but He doesn't leave them, and there's always a plan. There's always a plan of deliverance. And there's nothing they can do to mess it up or earn it, which was another thing this morning. Like, Christianity, Jesus, God, there is nothing I can do or you can do to earn His love or to earn that forgiveness that He so freely gives. This is not a works religion. You don't get to Jesus through the work that you do. There's nothing you can do to get to Him if you're trying to get there by works. He did all the work. He already did it. He went to the cross. He took all the sin of everybody. He did that already because He loves you. All you got to do is run to Him. You just got to run to Him and accept that He did those things for you. That He's real. That everything that He did is real. That's all you have to do. He did the hard part. I'm probably just rambling at this point. But yeah. Thank you for listening. God loves you tremendously, and He's so, so good. And if you're in a season where it looks like He's not so good, I've been there. There are seasons where it's like, what in the world, I just really, really challenge you to get into the Word. And a billion people will tell you to do that, and you'll be like, whatever. Heard that before. He'll show up. He'll show up. And I challenge you to just surround yourself with people that will love on you and pray for you and help you get into the Word. He's so good. All right. Happy almost Easter. It's a good week, and it is a good week to reflect on all the things that He's done and what they mean. Why did He get on the cross? Why did He do that? Like, reflecting on why did He do that? He didn't have to. He had all the power in the world. He didn't have to do that. But He did. Because He loves you and wants to be with you all the time.